Now, last week, I went ahead and I did a video on Security Plus. I kind of doubled down and I wanted to make sure you guys understood the importance of reaching out to credit unions and local banks and local credit unions and regional banks that may not be, huge on the scene to try to diversify who we're banking with. I went ahead and I did the personal video on that. And before I can go ahead and do the follow-up, which was like the business credit card product video, the whole last week, unless you've been under a rock, you've seen the madness, the craziness that's been going on with Signature Bank, banking crisis that we're in the middle of right now. And I want to do several videos because otherwise I'm just going to do like a 30-minute rant, everything that we've been discussing on this channel for the last 2 years about how to make sure that your credit profile is tightened up, why you should actually look for multiple different credit unions and banks to make sure that you're not just putting all of your eggs in one basket. We see right now a perfect example of what happens when you're only banking with one institution. You've seen the lines, you've seen the headaches, you've seen everything that's been going on right now, right? I don't have to tell you about that, but I do want to go ahead and make sure you guys are understanding that the things that we're learning on this channel, like we're not just learning about it in a theoretical sense. It does make sense to build relationship with more than one institution. What can we do to try to put ourselves in the best position to try to mitigate and offset the risk so that we're not putting our funds in jeopardy, right? We're not putting our funds at risk. Now, for the people that are out there that are saying, you know what, I don't want to invest, investing is risky, I'm just going to put my money in the bank. You guys got to understand that as soon as you put the money in the bank, they're already moving that money around the same day that you do that deposit. There is a concept called fractional reserve banking. The moment that you put $1 in the bank, that bank is taking that $1 and spreading it around and loaning it back to other people, investing it in other securities and other mortgage-backed securities, and in 10 different other ways that $1 is being spread 10 times. So just know that even if you're putting your money into a bank account and you're just leaving it alone, that money is not just there. It's not just sitting in a bank in a vault like Scrooge McDuck. It's not just stacked there. It's literally being spread around in the economy. And that's why we're in this banking crisis, because now you have certain banks that are lending out to high risk industries. They're not able to cover that amount. So if you have multiple people coming in and trying to pull out money, we run into a huge problem. Now you have the government coming in and trying to step in on behalf of the banks. But again, this video is not about that. I'm going to do separate videos dissecting all of the players and why that's going on. But right now I want to do the video that I was supposed to do last week, which was discuss about Security Plus. So now remember, last week we talked about how to get access to Security Plus. I showed you guys how to access this credit union simply by signing up with basically a nonprofit for $15. That $15 is going to get you lifetime access to not only this credit union, but there are dozens and dozens of other credit unions that are in partnership. I talked about the personal credit cards that pull from your TransUnion credit profile, credit limits going up to $25,000. We talked about some of their personal products, one specifically where they're going to be able to lend you up to $1,000 without even looking at your credit profile. That one was huge. Today's video, we're going to talk about all of their business lending products, specifically their business credit card product, as well as their business loans. I want to talk about the data points, who they pull from, do they report to specific credit bureaus or not at all. We're going to talk about all that and more in today's video. All right, guys, so now let's look at the business credit card. Let's start off with that first. The Biz Plus Cashback Visa Credit Card. So now you're looking at 1.25% cashback on all purchases, 3.99% APR for 12 months on all purchases and balance transfers, no annual fee, credit limits up to $25,000. So now remember, on the personal cards, you're able to get up to $25,000 on the personal cards. They're going to pull TransUnion for personal. Those data points are going to be identical on the business credit card products as well. Now remember, on the personal side, you're able to double dip within a matter of 30 days. So if you apply for that personal credit card, you can apply for another card without having to get an additional credit card inquiry, right? You don't have to do that as long as you're able to do your applications within 30 days. Dispute inquiry, since it doesn't report to the personal credit bureaus. Now, again, you may not be aware of this, but we always tell you guys not to dispute if you have an open account, right? So if you have a Capital One, a Chase personal card, you apply, you get the credit card, and you don't want to have that inquiry, we always tell you guys don't do that, because if you try to dispute a personal inquiry, that's connected to a personal credit card that is open, that could possibly allow the bank to go ahead and close that account. We don't want to do that. However, there's kind of like a semi loophole that if you go ahead and you have to PG for a business credit card, like you're going to do with this credit card here, right? You're going to have to apply, put in your information. You're going to get a personal hard inquiry on your personal credit profile. But because this business credit card is not going to be reporting onto your personal credit profile, these type of accounts are a lot easier if you want to go back and dispute, because they're not going to show active on your personal credit profile. Pulls from TransUnion Personal, I just mentioned that before. Both personal and the business credit cards pull from your TransUnion credit reports. 1 year of personal and business tax returns. And the business credit card doesn't report to any of the business credit bureaus. Now, I asked them, is this going to report to the Small Business Financial Exchange, Experian Business, Equifax Business? He said, no, it's not going to report to any of the business credit bureaus. So even though this particular credit card product doesn't report to any of the business credit bureaus, that is fine. But we have other ways of building up your credit profile on your business side. This one, even though it doesn't report, it's still fine. If you're able to get a $25,000 credit card, that is going to be 3.99% APR on purchases and balance transfers for 12 months, right? It's not going to report to your personal credit profile. It's still advantageous to get a credit card like this. And even though it's not going to report any of your positive payment history to any of the personal or even business credit bureaus, if you default, if you get this credit card and you don't pay, they will go ahead and report that to your personal. Remember that. Now let's talk about the business loan. So if you're trying to get a business loan from these guys between the amounts of $5,000 to $50,000, anything above $20,000 is going to be underwritten by an outside third party. Now this is another reason why I enjoy talking to different credit unions and trying to get on the phone with either branch managers or someone that kind of knows the ins and outs. You can get so much information that's not going to be readily available on their website. So anything between $0 to $20,000, whether that be the credit cards or you're getting a loan for a small amount, they're going to be able to underwrite it in-house within their own team, their own staff. They're going to be able to do it in-house. Anything above $20,000, that's outside of their wheelhouse, that's outside of what they're normally accustomed to underwriting. They got to go ahead and take that application and basically give it to a third party, an outside third party, to be able to figure out your income, looking at your P&Ls if necessary, looking at all of your data points. Another outside third party is going to make that decision and not this particular credit union. They're going to look for 2 years on the personal side for your tax returns, and they're going to look at 2 years on your business side. They're going to need a purchase agreement if applicable. They're going to need a lease agreement if applicable, and they're going to have to do evaluation for the collateral for equipment and vehicle loans. Now, what about the business loans for the amounts of $50,000 to $100,000, right? So now we're getting to a higher tier. Again, all the information is going to be the same, but now they're going to be looking at 3 years on your personal and 3 years on your business. All right, same collateral evaluation. Now they're going to be looking at your personal financial statement and the business debt schedule. And now what about $100,000 to $250,000? Everything is going to be the same as the tier before, as the slide before, but they're going to be needing a rent roll. So if you're not familiar with a business rent roll, let's say you own a rental building and you have 3 or 4 tenants, and the tenants, there's basically a schedule of when the tenants pay you, if they paid you already, for what amount do they pay you, basically a history or a paper trail that is tracking all of your tenants, when they pay, how much they pay. They're going to need to see that. And they're also going to need to see the 4506T form. That way they're able to see the IRS has a stamp of approval on the numbers that you're claiming. That way, again, less fraud, less funny business. So initially they're going to look for 1 year, then 2, then 3, and then you can see how they're going to require a little bit more information depending on how much you're trying to get. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. That's the breakdown for this particular credit union and the business products. Again, I'm going to do other videos talking about what's going on in the economy right now. I'm not telling you guys to go ahead and open up an account with every single bank, every single credit union that we talk about and review on this channel. And this is another thing that someone commented on one of my older videos saying, okay, yeah, this was good information. I think I was talking about Navy Federal. Yeah, this is good information, but you're recommending that people open up accounts with Bank of America and Wells Fargo, that the shady business practices that they've been doing. How can you tell people to open up accounts with them? I'm not telling you guys have to do business with them. In fact, I did a video breaking down the reasons why I didn't like Wells Fargo and the things that they were doing, the discriminatory practices against minorities. I broke that down with Wells Fargo. But again, at some point, guys, we have to make a distinction between our emotions, right? What feels good, what kind of gets us in the, emotional reserve, and what makes logical sense. What makes sense, just take emotions outside. What makes sense for our money, for our businesses, for our credit profiles. We have to make a distinction. Whatever your goal is on the personal or business side, whatever it is you're trying to do what's best for you and do what's best for your money. Don't put yourself in a position where you're reliant on one specific bank or one specific credit union. You don't want to just be cuffed up with just one bank at all. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. So that's the end of this video, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, go down in the comments, give me your thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some gems from it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.